Hey guys, this is Krazy, aka Kenny Mac 007, and this is the Red Moon Saloons new player guide slash tips and tricks. So if you came to this video, then you're probably playing Dayz for the first time, and I'm going to link up how to install and buy and get yourself running with Dayz and Operation Arrowhead. I'm going to put the link right here in the middle of the screen, so click on that if you're interested in Dayz or Operation Arrowhead. So okay, so click that if you haven't. If you already watched it, I'm going to jump into it. So I just made a new profile, so this is what it's going to be like the first time that you jump into a game, whether you're jumping in single player or whatever you're doing. This is a training map. It's called, I think, like Training East or something like that. I'm not sure what this is, but it's something I downloaded. So, yeah, I'm going to get right into it. So when you first get in the game, you're going to be in first person, and you can move around with the mouse and stuff, and you can walk around with your WASD keys. And if you notice, there's some nasty head bob. That's the first thing you're going to notice. I don't like head bob. If you like it, you can keep it on, but I'm going to show you how to adjust that. So we're going to hit escape. We're going to go to options, and we're going to go to game options, and here is the head bob slider. I'm going to turn that all the way down because I don't like it. I don't think it's needed. While we're here, we have the blood option, and we want to turn that to high, and that is because in Dayz, when you shoot somebody, you have a high chance of making them bleed, and you want to be able to see that if somebody's bleeding, because you know that they're going to try to run somewhere and bandage. So you want to have the blood effects at the high so you can really see if somebody's bleeding, whether it's somebody you're shooting at, or if it's you, or if it's a teammate or something. Then you want that high. Okay. Okay, now we have head bob set down, and now things start to look a little bit more smooth here. So alright, our next step is to mess with the graphics options. Now Arma 2 does not run very well. It's not very optimized. Arma 3 is going to be much more optimized, but for this for Dayz, you're gonna have to run it on this, and it's Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead. If you're just jumping in, like I said in the video before, is you can jump in for like $12, so it's really cool. So let's go ahead and look at some graphics options. So we're gonna go escape, we're gonna go to options, and then we're gonna go to video options. Now the first thing you're gonna do is down here you'll see the advanced tab. We're gonna click on that, open that up. First thing we're going to want to do is set our visibility all the way to max. Now don't worry if your computer isn't that great, because we're going to change some things. But my computer's pretty decent. It's a Sandy Bridge i5 with the Radeon 6870, I do believe. So it's pretty decent. And I can run with visibility all the way up here, and I'm recording also. Now, with visibility all the way up, the next thing we're going to look at is texture detail. Well, default, it's going to look different default for you. I think for default, it's going to be probably something like post-processing effects up here. And anti-aliasing might be set, anisotropic, ATOC might be set all different here. But the first thing we're going to do, texture detail, you can set that to how you want. I like to keep it on normal. So I set it to normal there because that's how I like it. Next down we got video memory. You're going to want to set this to default. And what that does is it will detect exactly how much memory that your card should be handling, your graphics card. So just put it to default. You're going to get the best performance out of that. You don't want to put it too low, and you don't want to put it too high where it starts using your RAM for things it shouldn't be using for. It should be using your graphics card for everything. So alright, next, anisotropic filtering. We're going to disable that. Next, anti-aliasing. We're going to disable this. And I will tell you why we disable anisotropic filtering. What anisotropic filtering does, not anisotropic filtering, sorry, anti-aliasing. What anti-aliasing does, if you don't know, is it blends pixels. For instance, on my screen, this video is in 720p, so you're not going to be able to tell exactly, but my screen is 1080p, and the pixels are 1080 vertically by 1920 horizontally. And if you notice in the background here, and I'll probably zoom in the video so you can see these pine trees a little more clear, you can see that the pixels are changing around, and you can see stuff like that. What anti-aliasing does is it blends the pixels together. So like if there's a tree pixel next to a sky pixel, it'll blend a pixel between the two to kind of hide that harsh pixel edges there. Now the reason why we want that off, while having it on makes the game world look a lot more beautiful. The reason we want it off is so that we can notice movement better. And what I mean is, if somebody's running in that tree line back there, we might be able to see some pixels moving, and we might be able to, you know, get out our binoculars or something, like, oh, what's that over there? If you have anisotropic filtering on, it might hide that. So that's why we want anisotropic filtering, or not anisotropic, I keep saying anisotropic. That's why we want anti-aliasing disabled. ATOC is something similar to that. It does anti-aliasing for just certain things only, but keep that disabled as well. I'm pretty sure that's what it does. I'm not sure, but keep that disabled as well. Okay, on the right side we're going to look at here. Terrain detail, we can keep that on normal. Objects detail, now this is something we want to set low, and I'll show you here. If I'm going to zoom in, if you can look, you can see that wall back there and the trees and bushes and stuff like that. Now watch what happens when we turn objects detail to very low. We might be able to see somebody over there that we couldn't see before. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't look as good from far away, but trust me, it's very important for when you're playing a game like Dayz. You're going to want to see as much as you can see. The next thing is shadows. Now, shadows can be pretty costly in performance, and since we have visibility set all the way up, we might want to turn this down to normal. That'll save us some frames. If your computer can handle it, by all means put it on high. And if you're really concerned about players hiding in shadows, then you can disable it altogether. I like to keep it on normal. I think it looks okay, and that's just the way I like it there. The next one is HDR quality. Now this, you can't really tell much of an effect during the daytime, but during the night it makes a big difference. It makes you be able to see much clearer at night. So when it's nighttime, definitely want to have your HDR all the way up. PPAA, I don't know what this is, so I keep it off. I'm not sure what that is. Post-processing effects. Now this adds like nice little fuzzy kind of hazy feeling, and it makes the world look really beautiful. And a lot of video games use this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this off. Now you might not be able to see in 720p the difference, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn this to disabled, and we'll see. Oh yeah, I can immediately notice a difference. I can see much clearer, but you might not be able to see in 720p the difference. But trust me, turn your post-processing effects to disabled. Interface, don't screw with that. Aspect, VSync, don't mess with all that. So that is the tips and tricks for our graphics options to get the most out of playing the game. So that'll help you out a lot. Next we'll look at audio options. Now for audio options, you want your effects up as much as you want. That controls everything from the wind, water sounds, gunfire, footsteps. All that is controlled through effects. So you want to keep that up. Music.
Cannot fire.
When you're playing Dayz, it's gonna have creepy music. You know, you might want to set it to low, just so that you can hear all the creepy music, get the real experience when you first play. But I highly recommend you just turn it off.
Cannot fire.
I'll help you hear better. Radio, don't worry about that. Doesn't really matter in Dayz. Voice over net. This will turn down the volume on people talking on side chat and stuff like that. But I do not think it has an effect for direct chat. I don't think you can turn down direct chat. I could be wrong. Microphone is how loud you are in your microphone, so you know, adjust that accordingly. Just leave it as default. Samples is the quality of the audio. 32 is plenty good quality for your audio, but if you want to turn it up to 64 or 48, then by all means you can play around with it, but 32 is pretty good. Okay, so the next thing is controls. Before we jump in controls, since I just went over voice over net, if you can see down in the lower left hand corner, by default when you hit comma on your keyboard, that changes the channel that you're talking in. So we'll go over them. First, side chat is server wide in Dayz. Now you can type in there by first hitting your question mark key and then typing a message. Now everybody can hear that. You can also talk in there by hitting your push to talk key, but we're gonna remap that here in a minute. But you do not want to talk over side chat. Most servers will kick you or ban you for talking over side chat because everybody can hear it. Some servers even have it turned off. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at, global channel is not used in Dayz, but if you jump into any other mods for Operation Arrowhead, then in mods where there's teams, side chat is for your team and global is for everybody. The next one we got is direct communication. Now this is your most important one. This is one that I do believe people can hear within 50-ish meters. And when you use your push to talk key, they can hear you within 50-ish meters as well. Now the closer you are to somebody, the louder that you're going to be through direct chat when you're talking through your microphone. So that's really cool. So if you're up close to somebody like this, you just talk normally. But if you're, for instance, like far away, say I'm trying to talk to that bot sitting right there, if I'm like this far away, then I'm going to actually have to yell on my microphone to get his attention. He'll be able to hear me talk normally, but it'll be quiet, so I want to yell into my microphone. So that's really cool. That's a really cool feature. I think I like it a lot. The next one is vehicle channel, and that allows you to talk with other people inside the same vehicle as you and nobody else. So that is also very useful if you're inside of a vehicle and you don't want people to hear you outside of it. Group channel, I'm not really sure how that works. I think in Dayz it automatically groups you with players if you're standing close to each other for a long enough time. Or something, I'm not sure. And command, I don't know what command is. Okay, so now that we got that discussed, it's about time that we hop into the controls. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to hit escape and go into options, controls, and at the right hand side here you'll see the how you want your axis to set up. Just leave that as normal. For X and Y axis, I highly recommend that you turn these down a little bit. That's the sensitivity of how when you're looking around in the game. You can adjust these to your play style, but I highly recommend you just turn them down a little bit. The next thing that you want to do is you want to turn smoothing all the way off, and what this does is it makes, when you're looking around and aiming, it makes it more smooth, a little bit rubber bandy. I don't like that. If you played any first-person shooters, you want it to be exactly how you move it. Move your mouse is exactly what you want to do in the game, so that's why I turn smoothing all the way off. So once you have those things done, you want to come up to here to the top and you want to click on infantry controls. Now the first thing we want to do is get rid of all toggles. Well, most of the toggles. And what do I mean by toggle? If you come down here, we have toggle lean left, and that is if you hit that key twice, then you stay in that mode, and those can be really disruptive if you accidentally do it in combat, and it could really screw you up, and I absolutely hate them. So that's something we want to do first. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on it once. It's going to bring up the menu for it. Then you're going to click on what it's bound on, and then you're going to hit delete. Then OK. So we're going to unbind lean left toggle, lean right toggle. We're going to delete that as well. Run walk toggle, just delete that as well. Let's see here, lock or zoom, reveal weapon, raise toggle, raise weapon, get rid of this as 2 controls. We can get rid of use default, use primary, optics, look, free look, which is like a toggle look. Get rid of that as well. T for team switch, we're gonna want to get rid of this because we're gonna use it for something else, and it's not used in Dayz. Compass toggle, and get rid of that. Watch toggle, get rid of this. I think that may be it. Zoom in, zoom out toggle, just in case that ever happens by accident. Let's get rid of those toggles. Voice over net toggle, really important that you get rid of this. You don't want to get stuck talking by accident. I've seen people do that, and it's really annoying. And yeah, that's it for the toggles. Okay, so the first button that you want to learn that's really important is called zoom, lock or zoom. Now this is default to your holding your second mouse button, which also is used for holding your breath, and it can be difficult to use because it also brings up your optics. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this guy, we're gonna delete it, and then we're just gonna hit the space bar. Now you can see it's red and it's flashing. That means it's conflicting with another command, which is commanding mode. But we're gonna hit OK anyways, and then we're gonna scroll down, we're gonna find commanding mode, and we're gonna delete that because commanding mode is not used in Dayz. So let's go ahead and test that guy out. Now when we hold space, we can zoom, and that's really important, and it's really nice to have it set to spacebar. Now the second thing that is good by default is the toggle, the one toggle that we didn't get rid of, which is toggle first and third person. Now that is by default numpad enter, and that is, I hope we didn't delete that. Let me go check, because that's the one toggle that we do want. That would be under toggle view. Yep, we want this at numpad enter, and that's an easy one to use by default because all you do is take your thumb off the side of your mouse, and without even taking your hand all the way up the mouse, you just hit the enter on your numpad. That puts us in third person view, which we're going to be playing in mostly unless we're in combat. So that's how you switch between first and second view. Okay, the next thing that we're going to go over is the Alt key. Now the Alt key by default is your look. Now this is really useful, and you can combine it in conjunction with your space zoom. I'm just holding my thumb on Alt to look around, and then I can move my index finger down and use zoom while I'm moving forward. Scan the area very well. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a weapon out of this crate, and I will show you. I'm just going to grab the AK-74, and I'll show you how important using Alt is. Let's say that we're hiding in a bush over here, okay? Now if we were looking around, and normally you can notice that we have movement. Our body's moving, so we're giving away our position. Somebody can see us moving like this. Now if we didn't want to give away our position, we can instead use Alt, and that only turns our head, and then we can get in the first person view by hitting numpad enter, and we barely give away any movement because we're only using our head. Do use this. I see a lot of players do not use this, and you need to use it whenever you can because it's very useful, and it also comes in handy when you're driving vehicles. You're going to be using it a lot. The next thing that we're going to go over is prone, crouch, and stand controls. Now by default in controls, these are set up as C, X, and Z. Now that's pretty easy if you have your fingers on WASD, just to move them, all three of your fingers down or just your index down. You can pretty much feel those out, what they are. But if you have extra buttons on your mouse, if you have more buttons on your mouse than just a regular 3-button mouse, then by all means map them to those. If you don't have that, then you can use this. I personally think this is kind of weird. I like it to be left to right, stand up, crouch, prone, so I'm going to go ahead and change that now. I'm going to change stand up to Z, and then I'm going to change prone to C. Now that makes much more sense to me. So now I have Z for stand up, X for crouch, C for prone. Now these are really useful in Dayz. Since this isn't a Dayz server that I'm on right now, you can't see, but on the right side where it has all those training statistics for this training map, there will be an eye and an ear icon, and they have little meters that show how much visibility and how much sound you're giving off, and that only correlates to the zombie AI. And when you're crouching, you give off less eye and less noise when you're moving, and when you're crawling, you give off virtually no eye and no ear. You might give off like one mark on the meter. Now these are really important. For the most part, whenever you're in any kind of combat, or you can even see a zombie, for the most part you want to be crouching. You can still move pretty quickly while you're crouching. The next thing I want to go over is your sprint, which is default double tap forward. Now that's okay, I like that. A lot of people are familiar with that. That is what it is in many games, and since there's so many controls in this game, it's hard to find something else to put it on, so I like just having it as double tap forward. Now sprint lets you go a little bit faster than running, but you can only do it until you start to get out of breath. Then you'll start to slow down. But that's very useful if you're trying to you know, if you're trying to avoid fire or trying to get somewhere quickly. It's very useful. The next thing I want to go over is your walk, and that is default shift. Yes, so that's already set up good. Now if you haven't set this up before, if you're using Windows and you hold shift for more than 5 or 10 seconds, it'll bring up a sticky keys window. Now what you want to do on that is there's a link that you can follow to the control panel, and it'll bring it up in Windows, and where it says use shift for 5 or 10 seconds or whatever as a shortcut to bring up the sticky keys menu, you're going to want to disable that, and then you'll never have to deal with that again. So make sure you do that if that's coming up. Walking basically just makes you move slower, and you give off less noise when you're walking, not only to zombies but to players as well. So crouching and shift walking is a really good way to get around zombies if they're not too close to you. But if they are close to you, like as far away as like that bush right there, a lot of times this won't even do it. You're gonna have to get down, you're gonna have to crawl. Now you can also use your walk key while you're crawling. Crawl super duper slow, and that can be very useful as well. The next thing I'm gonna go over is your optics, and that is default to single right click on your mouse. That brings up your optics. Now you can see in the middle of the screen, you can see my reticule that shows like where I'm going to fire from the hip with a little dash mark. It might be hard to see in 720p, but basically a lot of servers have this disabled. If it's a veteran server, chances are you're not going to have this option, so you're going to be forced to look down your optics if you want to shoot at any time. But on top of that, when you're aiming at a target with your reticule, by default it's not going to be as accurate. Well, actually it is pretty damn accurate, but actually the bullet path is going to be slightly more accurate if you're looking down your iron sights. It's always going to be a little bit more accurate. On top of that, you can zoom with our space bar, and we can get a really good accurate shot from this way. Now depending on your gun, every gun has a different accuracy to it. No gun is equal, but generally speaking, if you're in a firefight, you almost always want to be looking down your optics or iron sights or scope or whatever it is in order to make the most accurate shots, because using the reticules is not going to cut it all the time, and they're disabled on a lot of servers. But a quick tip if you are using your reticules and somebody comes up behind you or whatever and you don't have time to look down your sights, you just shoot right away. When you're shooting close quarters like this, the reticules are actually off the way that they work. If you can see here, I'm going to try to shoot this guy in the chest, and you can see I shot him in his butt. So if somebody does come around a corner, remember, you want to have your reticules up farther. If I aim up high right here, I shot him in his head there. So if you are doing close quarters, always remember that you want to have your reticles up a little bit higher than what they should be. Okay, now that we went over optics, I'm going to go ahead and show you the breath mechanic. So your character gets out of breath as you do things. And as we can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and go for a short jog real quick and get out of breath for you. Okay, I am coming back from my short jog and my character is nice and out of breath, and this happens a lot in Dayz. Now if we see, when I try to look and aim at a target, my gun's kind of jumping around. Makes it a little bit more difficult to aim. Now one way we can get around this by default, you can crouch or prone, and that's going to help out. But we can also hold our right mouse for hold breath, and that's default to hold right mouse, and that actually steadies up the aim just a little bit to give you that more accurate shot. So always remember that if you're out of breath, hold your right mouse button down, and you'll hold your breath and be able to make a better shot. And I've already gained my my breath back because I only went down to that house and back. There's a nice short little jog, but yep, that's how the breath works. It also is audible to other players. So always remember, if you're out of breath around other players, they're going to be able to hear you if you're inside a building or something. The next thing I will want to go over is the F key, and that is default, and it will change your weapon mode if you have a gun that has different weapons. If you look in the top right hand corner, because I have the AK-74, F will change it from semi to fully automatic. Now for the most part you want to be shooting semi-automatic, but I'll get to tips and tricks and guides on guns in another video. But just so you know, that changes that. And also, if you have other things that can be used, it'll also select those. It will not select your secondary pistol or your secondary weapon, but if you have something like a can, you can pick up empty cans in Dayz, and then you can throw them. You can hit F to select them, and you can throw them, and they will break windows if you need to break a window, or they will distract zombies. You can also get smoke grenades, which are really great for distracting zombies, and you can also find frag grenades. So I'll show you how the throwing mechanic works quickly here. I do believe there's grenades in here. Yes, there are frag grenades in here. So I'm going to grab a frag grenade out of this box, and I'm going to hit F, and I'm going to change the frag grenade. Now you can see the circle on my screen there. Now when you go to left click, you hold it. You don't click it once, or else the grenade's just going to plop right in front of you and you're going to blow yourself up. What you do is you hold it down, and you hold it longer to throw it farther. And if you want to throw it the maximum distance, you just hold it down until your character automatically throws it. Now the circle's going to get bigger as you warm up your throw. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a nice baseball throw and see if I can't get it on that target out there. That was pretty good. It was a pretty good throw. Didn't get much of an arc off of it, but yeah, so that's how the F key works. So that's very important. The next thing I want to go over is the vault key, and that is default to V, and that's a great spot for it to be because you can just hit it with your thumb quickly. Now this is used for getting over fences and different types of debris in Dayz. As we can see right here, I can't get over this ammo box if it was completely blocking my way, but I can, however, vault over it. Now in Dayz it won't work in this because I am in just an Arma 2 training map. But in Dayz, if you are running and you are standing up and you hit your vault key, instead of doing a vault, you will do what's called a battle roll. and you do like a somersault forward, and that can also get over fences and stuff. Now, one word of precaution: you can hurt yourself. You can fuck yourself up using vault, just like in real life. If there's something that looks a little hairy and you're not sure if it's safe to get over, then don't try to vault over it or somersault over it. I have broken my legs trying to get over debris and stuff at least a dozen times. I've broken my leg trying to get over something. So just keep that in mind. And actually, the first time I used the battle roll or the somersault, I was coming up on a fence, and I was thinking I was just gonna vault over it, but I forgot about the battle roll, and I hit it too early. And instead of somersaulting over the fence, I somersaulted into the fence, knocked myself out, and got ate by like 10 zombies. So be aware of that. Use both of them with caution. The next thing that I want to go over is the lean keys. Those are default to Q and E. Now this is very important. This is what separates the noobs from the intermediate people. Apart from using Alt a lot and knowing your surroundings, something else a lot of people don't like to use is the lean keys. Now this is very important when you're in a battle, you get in a firefight or something, and you're in the woods. I will demonstrate this quickly. So say we're behind a tree here. We can get in the first person mode, and we can just lean, take pop shots from both sides. And this is very important. Do try to use it as much as you can. The other good thing about it is, if we're abusing third person view and we're trying to look around a tree, like say, I don't know if you can see that light post over there, but if we didn't want to expose ourselves and trying to see what's going on over there, we can get another extra foot or two off using the lean key to look over there. So that's also very useful. Do try to use that. Next thing I want to go over, what should I go over next? Let's go over the G key. Now the G key is default goes to your inventory. I'm just acting all dimmicky in here. But that brings up your inventory, and if you're looking at something, you see this box, you see that icon with a gun and 3 clips? That means that I'm looking at a container. If I hit the G key now, then I can see the contents of the container. The numbers on the left mean that's items in the container. The numbers on the right means that's items that are on my body. So if I click and then I click over, since I can only have one primary weapon, it swaps them out automatically. Now, a lot of times it'll be difficult to get into things. You also see this come up when you're looking at zombies, because dead zombies after you kill them are technically containers. And it might be difficult. If you're having trouble getting the container icon to come up, try just looking down the barrel of your gun, or the scope of your gun at this point, since I picked up scoped gun, which I'm going to switch that out quickly. Just try looking down the scope of your weapon to get it to show up a lot of times, and that's a good trick. You can also, if there's just one item on the ground, or if you're trying to use a ladder, you can just click your mouse wheel once, and that will have you use whatever you're looking at if the icon is showing up by your in the middle of your screen. I don't think there's nothing else that I can go over for controls. I mean, that's the basics right there. Oh, another thing we can go over quickly is how to set your zeroing. If you see in the upper right hand corner of the screen, I have the AKM, which has zeroing. And what zeroing means, if you don't know what that means, is when you're looking down your sights, that is going to be accurate at 300 meters. If the target is closer, then I'm going to have to shoot down a little bit because it's going to go up. If the target is farther, then I'm going to have to set it up. Then you're going to have to arc the bullet a little bit, because there is bullet drop in the game, and there is bullet ricochets in the game also. And I can actually show you what I mean by ricochet quickly. Let's turn on the projectile camera, and let's see if we can't get a nice ricochet here. Oh, there's one right off the bat. So yeah, there are ricochets in the game. Be aware of that. You can shoot through things like fences. Some fences you can shoot through, although they ricochet in different directions coming out of it. But if somebody's behind a fence, a lot of times you can still get them through the fence. I have gotten people through fences. It's confirmed it does work in Dayz. I'm going to go ahead and turn that well, actually, I'll keep the projectile camera on to show you how zeroing works. If you look at the upper right hand corner of my screen, I'm going to use page up by default to set my zeroing higher. Now I'm going to aim at the target's chest, and as you see, it went over him. That's because my iron sights are accurate at 600 meters, not whatever, how many meters. It looks like he's at 50 meters, not at 50 meters. So if I want it to be more accurate up close, then I'm going to set the zeroing down to 100. And as you can see, it's much more accurate. So be aware of that. Use page up and page down to set zeroing on weapons that have zeroing. Most assault rifles that do not have zeroing options available on them are default to 300 meters zeroed. So be aware of that as well. Personally, when it comes to assault rifles, I like to set the zeroing to 200. I feel more comfortable with that. I don't think there's really a point to setting your zeroing past 500 with an assault rifle, because I don't know if you realize how far 500 meters are away. I can show you quickly. Set that target to 500 meters. Where did it go? Yeah, it's 500 meters away. Can't even see it from 500 meters away because it's not a player, it's an object. So it's not set to even load that far away. But let's set it to something that we might be able to see a little closer. Let's try 400 meters. Can't even see at 400 meters. I'm going to take a shot down here. There it is. See it quick. You might not have been able to see it. Because it is an object, it's not a player. It's not loading very close because there are object settings. But that's okay. See if it loads up 300 meters away. Still can't see it. Well, I'm gonna just set my view objects up higher just for this example only, so that you can see what I'm talking about. No, I still can't see it. That's disappointing. That is disappointing. Well, let's set it. I'd show you how far 200 meters is away. That's how far 200 meters away. I don't know if you can see that. That is 200 meters away. Yeah. Let's see if we can hit that guy. That is a swing and a miss. That's what that is. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's set our zeroing to 200 meters. Take a shot here. And get into a prone position. That is a swing and a miss as well. As you can see, it's kind of silly to set your zeroing past like 300 meters really with an assault rifle. Come on, this is going to be the magic shot. I know it is. There we go. Yeah, that's a 200 meter shot. So, generally speaking, you don't have to worry about zeroing on assault rifles too much. I like to keep mine at 200. That's just where I like to keep mine. Yeah, so any other tips and tricks slash guide things that I can think of? I want to get into vehicles next and the controls for that. I'm going to make another video for that because this video is really starting to drag on. I apologize for being so long. I hope I helped some people that are jumping into Dayz, or some people that have already been playing Dayz. Like I said, the community is getting really strong lately. I think everybody anticipating the Dayz standalone is really getting excited about it, getting into Dayz if they had been taking a break. So all the servers seem to be really hopping lately. If you like this video and you want me to make more stuff like this, then subscribe, like it, share it with your friends, get them into Dayz. I'm going to be coming out with more Dayz videos and more guides for all kinds of video games. Really going to start going ham on these YouTube videos because yeah, I like making them, and I enjoy it, and yeah, so I will see you guys next time, and I hope this was helpful.